Good evening and welcome to Season 3, Episode 8 of the KCCFC TV show. And on this one, we'll be walking down memory lane. It's been 30 years since we lost one of the greats of the football club, the late Moses Nsereko. So much has been said about this gentleman, and on the show tonight, we'll be getting to know who exactly was this gentleman. We also have an unveiling on the show tonight, plus we'll be getting first club interviews from some of our new players. It's a plethora on the show tonight. I'm your host, Magero Moses Mwanje is my name. You and I are definitely walking this journey together. Now to start it off with the club news from KCCFC, the pre-season goes on and it's, guys, if you've been able to get to the MTN Omondi Stadium, if you've really been that lucky, you will get to know that the pre-season gets intense and intense. Remember, we have a month to kick off the Start Times Uganda Premier League because the tentative program shows that the league will be kicking off midway October, about 15th. Hopefully, that program is still on course. But now the pre-season at KCCFC continues. The club definitely played some friendly games this season behind closed doors. That's why I've said if you had a chance to go to the MTN Omondi Stadium this week. But KCCFC played teams like Makerere Select, then Luwero United, and then Telonova FC. And I will tell you that the games were really fantastic because the manager tried out various systems to get to see who can be able to fit in his system, and also which players will be exactly helping him in various, let me say, situations. Because if you are losing a game, let me say, by 1-0, how do you react? If you're leading the game by 4-0, how do you react as a player and also as a team? So very many players have been part of these pre-season games for KCCFC, and I will tell you, almost everyone has had a run out, because during the pre-season, that's when you get to test your different players, who is going to help you exactly, who is going to try probably fit in your exact system. So it's been work at the MTN Omondi Stadium, and all the new players, at least I'll just be a witness to you guys, because all the new players are part of this pre-season training. Players like Brian Majuega, players like Geoffrey Waswa, players like Innocent Wafula. He returned to a full team training this week. Remember, at the time when we signed him, he was busy with the national team, but he has also been part of the training. Dennis Ugumo also returned from the national team. Now he's also being part of the team training, and very many other players, and also the promoted players, plus also the players that own the fringes, the players that have been in the junior team but are not yet promoted, but around the football club. So it's top-class stuff, just like the images you see in the background. Those are some of the videos and the cutaways from some of the training sessions we've had at the MTN Omondi Stadium. The pre-season goes on because even next week, still there will be intense training to try to see that by the time the Start Times Uganda Premier League kicks off next month, we've ticked all the boxes. So that's pretty much the update about the pre-season training for KCCA Football Club. Now, still talking about KCCFC, this week we marked 30 years since the passing on of one of our greats, the late Moses Nsereko. Now, so much has been said about this gentleman. If you're to remember that generation of KCCFC players that had most of the greats, if you've been able to get to the MTN Omondi Stadium, you'll see that we have some of the legends whose names have been written across the boundaries of that pitch, that is the MTN Omondi Stadium. So Moses Nsereko is also there, and if I've been able to talk to some of the living legends like Mr. Tom Luanga, also a board member at the football club, and he says that this gentleman, to him, in his own opinion, because he was able to play with him, and he saw him, run out, for the national team and also for the club that is KCCFC. So Mr. Tom Luanga says that, to him, Mr. Moses Nsereko is the greatest player that has ever donned a KCCFC jersey. That is to him. Now, who was Moses Nsereko? You might be asking that who this gentleman is. You can see that picture that is running on your screen. Now, Moses Nsereko, he would be 69 years if he was still alive on this day, because he was born in 1952. And then he used to don shirt number 14, that is for both club and country, for KCCFC and also for the national team. He was a midfielder, and he played in 2 AFCON finals, that is for 1976 and 1978. Now, if you remember that crop of 1978, these are the guys that played the final of the African Cup of Nations against Ghana. Uganda lost that one, but Moses Nsereko was part of that team. Moses Sereko won three Sekafa Senior Challenge Cups with Uganda. That is in 1976 and also in 1977. And then he won 5 Uganda Premier League titles. That is 1976, 1977, 1981, 1983, and 1985. We don't have a player at KCCFC that has won that much of Uganda Premier League titles. Then 3 FUFA Uganda Cups. That is 1979, 1980, 1982. And then 1 Sekafa Club Championships. That, if you remember, 1978 team, the one that, remember that KCCFC team that won the first ever Sekafa Club title. And then it was President Idi Amin Dada that handed over that trophy to the captain then, who was called Sam Musenzi, that crop of 1978. So pretty much that's Mr. Moses Nsereko, one of the living legends at KCCFC. So much has been said about this gentleman. If we started right now, I'm quite sure we may not even finish talking about him. But this week we marked 30 years since the passing on of this legend. He passed on, that was in September in 1991. Reasons and why exactly he had to pass on the way he passed on, because he was murdered, have never come out in the light for everyone to know, but it's always been rumor. So we hope that the friends and the families of Mr. Moses Sereko can get justice probably one day. So all we can say at KCCFC TV, that may his soul continue rest in peace. Still about KCCFC, we told you that we signed Mr. Innocent Wafula, but it's been a moment since you heard from the gentleman. Everyone has been asking, we have had club interviews, the first club interviews from most of our players, and people are asking, when shall we hear from the flamboyant winger, Mr. Innocent Wafula, who recently played his first game for the Uganda Cranes. He came on in the 68th minute when Uganda drew with Mali at the St. Mary's Stadium, Chitende. So we caught up with Mr. Innocent Wafula this week when he reported back to training for the very first time as a KCCFC player, and this is what exactly the player had to say about his move to KCCFC. Have a look.
My name is Innocent Wafula. I'm excited to join KCCFC. I will be playing as a defender. I feel good joining KCCFC because it is a great club. It has had many achievements. Who wouldn't like to join such a club? I feel very excited because I'm going to represent the club in many competitions like Uganda Premier League, Uganda Cup, and I will work hard to help the team win games. My set goals are to help the team win trophies and help the team get back to the continent. Yes, I have many friends at the club like Geoffrey Waswa, Fadiga, Ochan, Guma, Gift Ali. I'm very excited that I'm going to play with them. The fans should expect best from me, good performance and trophies. I can't wait to start.
Well, that's it from Mr. Innocent Esimu Wafula, his first club interview. Most of you have been asking, when shall we hear from him? You've heard from him, a very brilliant player, and he says that he wants to win with the football club and he wants to make sure the club gets back to greater heights. Top class stuff from Innocent Wafula. Now, guys, we'll be taking a break. When we return, we have an unveiling on the show, just like it has been a norm for most of our shows before. You might guess the player, but hey, KCCFC TV saw it first. All this after the break. Now, welcome back from that break. We told you we have an unveiling on the show tonight, and this is the 11th signing for KCCFC in this particular transfer window. That is the 2021-2022 summer transfer window. And this player you'll be getting to know just shortly after this. Now, in case you missed it, which I'm quite sure that most of you did, here is the 11th signing for KCCFC in this particular transfer window.
My name is Kasia Davis. I'm a new forward at KCCA football team.
Davis, how do you feel about joining KCCA-FC?
I'm really grateful, very, very happy about this opportunity handed over to me, because it has been long without coming back to my real talent, as in to offer what I'm supposed to really offer. So I'm really, really happy for this chance given to me.
And then how excited are you that you will feature for the club in the various competitions, the Uganda Cup, the Uganda Premier League?
It's really a dream come true because it's quite a long time since I loved to join this team, to offer my services, to come back to the form I was. But I know I'll give whatever I will with the gaffer and everyone.
Then what are some of the set goals and objectives you have now that you're joining KCCA Football Club?
You know, I'm just coming back from this low performance I've been giving out due to some challenges, but I would really love to get back to the national team, to help the team by scoring goals, making assists, and trying to give back the team what is supposed to be there. So that means scoring goals, winning games, going back to the Champions League. That's really my dream.
And then, do you have any friends at the football club? Which player are you looking forward to meet and playing with at the club?
I have my former teammate, Kayanja. I have Guma Dennis. I was with him at the national team sometime back. The first time I went back to AFCON, I was with him. I look forward to meeting those great players, Poloto, Gift, Ali. You know, I have a friend of mine, Fadiga. He's a good player and a good friend. So I'm looking forward to meeting them again.
Okay. Then finally, what should the fans and other stakeholders expect from Davis Cassidy?
I know the pressure will be coming on. No matter what, you expect many things from them. But let them expect a hardworking person, someone who is going to push to limits. So they're expecting goals. I need goals to make them happy, and the team as well.
Now there you have it. That is the 11th signing. Mr. Davis Cassidy joins KCCFC. Now who is Davis Cassidy? Davis Cassidy has played for clubs like URA Football Club, Ryan Sports in 2015, DC Motema Pembe in Democratic Republic of Congo, that was in 2016, and then Zesco United Football Club in Zambia, that was in 2017. He also joined Vipers in 2017, if you remember that season, 17-18. And then later on he moved to various clubs. Then he has been in UPDF Football Club, that's where KCCFC has signed him from. So he gets to join KCCFC and he has signed a 1-year contract that is for KCCFC, but is subject to extension. That will depend on definitely how the player performs. So that's the newest or the freshest acquisition for KCCFC, and he gets to join the forwards, the KCCFC forwards like Sadata Naku, Sam Senyonjo, Brian Kayanja, you know, very many players like Brian Ahebwa, and so he gets to also join that fold. That is Mr. Davis. So some of you may be asking, I mean, he is the 11th signing. Which other players have joined the football club? Just to tell you, Brian Majwega joined the club from URA Football Club. He signed a 2-year deal. Then Brian Kayanja joined from UPDF Football Club. He signed a 3-year deal. He's a forward. Emmanuel Alex Waswa, former captain of SC Villa, joined the football club on a 3-year deal. He's a defensive midfielder. Geoffrey Waswa joined the football club from SC Villa. He's a defender. He signed a 2-year deal. Mr. Osama Arafat joined from Kajansi United. He was the MVP during the Masaza football tournament, the recent one. And that is Mr. Osama Arafat. He joined from Kajansi United. He signed a 4-year deal with KCCFC. Innocent Esimu Wafula joined from Bara City, signed a 1-year contract, but it's also subject to extension depending on how he will perform. He's a winger, can also play as a right back. And then the 7th player was Yassa Mugera, joined from Kedema of Ethiopia, played for very many clubs in Ethiopia and also has played for URA before. That is in Uganda. He joined on a 2-year deal. That is Mr. Yassa Mugera. He's an attacking midfielder. Then Rogers Mato, a winger, can also play as a wing back, very versatile player, joined from Proline Football Club, and he signed 4 years with KCCFC. Derek Ochan joined from Police Football Club. He's a goalkeeper, and he signed a 3-year deal with KCCFC. Then Benjamin Ochan, a goalkeeper, former player of KCCFC, Joined on, this is his third stint at the football club. Previously played in 2008, 2009, then 2015 to 2018. So he returned to the football club for his third stint, and he joins from AFC Leopards of Kenya. And just like I said, he's a goalkeeper. He signed a 2-year deal. So those are the 10 players. Now you add Davis Kasiri, who is the 11th player that has joined KCCFC in this particular transfer window. The club has been also able to promote 2 players. Now, most of you have been saying that, I've read a couple of your comments on various social media platforms, and people are saying, what is not happening? Are we losing the identity of KCCFC, which has always been grooming players and also, blending youth and the experienced players, and also trying to promote a few of our players from the soccer academy? But I'll tell you, no, KCCFC has not lost its identity. This particular transfer window, we have promoted 2 players. That is Mr. Mole Biekwas, who is the current manager of KCCFC, promoted 2 players in Mwanje Elvis Eddy, a very flamboyant, fantastic midfielder. I'll tell you, next season, look out for that one. Mwanje Elvis Eddy, also a player on the under-17 national team of Uganda. He won the Sekafa under-17 tournament. That was in Rwanda last year in December. So he gets to join KCCFC, promoted from the junior team to the soccer academy. And Juma Ibrahim, a left back. This one has been a long time coming because everyone was asking, when will Juma Ibrahim be promoted? He's been around the football club for quite some time. That is from the junior team. You felt that he kept on knocking on the door, but his chance has finally come, and he's been given the trust by Mr. Mole Biekwaso, and he's been promoted to the senior team. Now, just to tell you some of the current soccer academy graduates, but they're still in the current squad of KCCFC. They've previously played for KCCFC Soccer Academy and are currently in the KCCFC senior team. Most of you could be asking, why, the club, has it lost its identity? Just like you've been asking. So here are the players in the current KCCFC squad. Remember, the club can only license 30 to 32 players a season. So these are the players that have previously played for the Soccer Academy and right now are playing for the KCCFC senior team. Ali Mwerusi, goalkeeper, he's also a graduate of that team. If you remember that team that they had, the Alan Okelos and all those, Mwerusi Ali was part of that team. Musa Ramadan, former captain of the KCCFC Soccer Academy, was promoted together with, if you remember that group that had Chiza Bukenya, that had players like Sadata Naku. He was one of those. So Peter Magambo has also been at the club for almost now 5 years, promoted about in 2016, 17. And he's also a graduate of real estate business management at MUBS. So we don't only focus on the football, we also focus on the education of the player. Achai Herbert, currently studying at MUBS and doing BCom, also promoted in 2018, that is to the KCCFC senior team. Julius Poloto, current assistant captain of the team. The gaffer is yet to mention who these captains will be, is yet to announce, but if you have to go by what last season was, Julius Poloto, also promoted in 2017, played in the group stages of the Confederations Cup, played in the group stages of the Champions League, but he's been messed up with injuries. But I will tell you what, he's currently training with the football club and he looks stronger than before. Jurwa Hassan, if you all remember his story, at one moment everyone thought that probably he may never ever play football. After the player was sedated, that was last year before the pandemic, before that first lockdown, if you remember, this was a player that got malaria, then it hit him very badly. He was sedated. Sedating is literally you're not alive, but you're alive. That's what I should probably say. So he got back to, his real self, and he bounced back real well. He played he played last season, if you remember that, especially in the second part of the season, and also scored a couple of goals. I remember against Maroons Football Club in the FUFA Uganda Cup. Also a former player of the Soccer Academy. Dominic Aida, he was the only player that was promoted last season from the junior team to the senior team. He's yet to play his debut and is right now doing PEM, that is Physics, Economics and Mathematics at Chivuli SS, one of our partner schools. Then Juma Ibrahim, I've told you, is a left back, recently promoted from the Soccer Academy to the senior team. And finally, Mwanje Elvis Eddy. Those are about 11 players in the current setup. So I've heard, and very many people have been saying that the club might have lost their identity, has lost it. What happened to the junior team players? Hey, the club still has its identity. We still have our own objectives at the football club because we know that we've got to groom talent, we've got to develop talent, and that is exactly what we are about. Guys, we're going to be taking a break. We'll come back with so much on the show, including social media reactions from the fans about some of our latest signings. All this after the break. Now, welcome back from that break. Just like I told you, we have social media reactions from some of our fans. Those are our followers on the various social media platforms. In this particular one, we'll be reading from Twitter. And when we announced Benjamin Ochan for having returned for his third stint at KCCFC, that was last week on Sunday, still on the KCCFC TV show, many of you reacted on our various social media platforms. And I'll be reading out a couple of these ones. We'll start with a frog from Onzivu says, I thought he's a goalie, but his unveiling shows him in an outfield player's jersey. Well, just to educate you that is a Visit Kampala jersey, and it's one of our jerseys. It's not about being a keeper or, an outfield player. Still reading some of your reactions. That is, Gift Kante Casemiro says, welcome back home, Ochan. And then still about your reactions, Mr. Byaruhanga Nasa says, I'm happy to see my brother back to our team, KCCFC. Sean Dewo of Uganda says, welcome back, Benja. Chiza Robert says, welcome back, Benja. Home is better. Then Y2K on Twitter says, welcome back, man. I remember when you were between the sticks like every after 2 days. When you were with the sticks, I think he had an injury before. And then Marvin Michael says, hashtag Benja back. Yasa Mogera, this is a current player at KCCFC, a very good friend to Benjamin Ochan, says, welcome, Chief. Bruno Reyes says, welcome back home, bro. And then Tony Sanya says, you should maintain your long hair. Chipara makes you look not very good. All the best of luck. I think he meant because Benjamin Ochan really finishes all his hair when he's having a trim. Then Onzez says, welcome back, Benja. Chiza Robert says, home is best. Very many reactions, guys. On Twitter still, welcome back home, brother. Stay for good this time. Entebbe missed you too. This is Chiwa Step on Twitter. And then Herbert J. Kite says, indeed. That is all he said. Pangire Moses Mwesigwa says, welcome back. Bruno says, welcome back home, bro. Still about Twitter. Benjamin Ochan himself went to Twitter and says, the badge is bigger than the name at the back. Happy to be back home. Hashtag we are KCCFC. So those are some of the reactions from the fans about the return of Mr. Benjamin Ochan. Still to give you the updates from KCCFC this week, the club confirmed that 2 players had left KCCFC, that is by mutual consent. That is an agreement between KCCFC and the players. These players are Juma Balinya. Juma Balinya had signed a 2-year contract last year when he joined KCCFC. He has only served for a year, scored 2 goals during his time at KCCFC. But I'll tell you that this player, with his representatives, together with KCCFC, agreed to mutually terminate his contract that had a year to go at KCCFC. And that means that Juma Balinya is no longer a KCCFC player. He's been donning shirt number 10. And at KCCFC, we can only say that we wish the player the very best in his future endeavors. Another player is Joseph Kafumbe. Now, Joseph Kafumbe is a graduate of the FUFA Juniors League and also a graduate of the KCCFC Soccer Academy. He joined KCCFC in 2019. That's when he was promoted, together with players like Musa Ramadan, Chizao, Joseph Bukenya, and Sadat Anaku. Joseph Kafumbe scored on his debut for KCCFC against SC Villa, and he's gone on to be, a very nice KCCFC player. Also having a start and stop because of education. And yeah, but this week the player agreed mutually with the football club to terminate his contract. That is with his representatives. And that meant that Joseph Kafumbe leaves KCCFC. He still had about 2 years to finish his contract. So that means those are 2 players that have mutually agreed to terminate their contracts just from the time we had last week's show up until today. So that means 4 players so far have agreed to mutually terminate their contracts. That is a player in Joseph Kafumbe, Juma Balinya, Moses Aliro, and Samuel Nemeimana Kato. Now, still about this week, Charles Lukwago left KCCFC. He's been the club captain of KCCFC. I joined the football club in 2016 when he was coming from Proline Football Club. And, from 16, 17, 17, 18, he was always knocking on the door. But, and then in 18, he got to, 2018 January, he got to start playing for KCCFC as a full-time player. That is, he got the #1 spot. That was after Benjamin Ochan left in 2018 to join Kabwe Warriors. That was in Zambia. And Mr. Charles Lukwago kept on playing for KCCFC, and he was named club captain in 2019. that is after the season 2018-2019, was named by the former coach of KCCFC, that is Mike Hilary Mutebi. Now, Charles Lukwago, in his time as the captain of KCCFC, the first assignment was trying to make sure we get the second ever Sekafa Club Championship to break the 41-year jinx. And he understood the assignment because he led the football club to the very first Sekafa title in 41 years. The last time we had won that one was in 1978. That crop of the Moses Sincericos, rest in peace. Mr. Philip Omondi, rest in peace, and very many others. Also the living legend in Tom Luanga, that crop. So he gets to leave the football club and joins St. George in Ethiopia. This is a football club we beat in 2018 to make it to the first time ever in the group stages of the CAF Champions League. So wish Mr. Captain all the very best. He has won very many things with the football club, the Sekafa Club title, a Uganda Cup, if you remember that one in Bukedea in 2018. He's won the league in 2019 as a KCCFC player, and also been a very fantastic figure just in the dressing room, especially with the junior team players. But unfortunately, he didn't get to stay with the football club. So Mr. Charles Lukwago, wish you the very best, serve the football club very diligently, top-class captain, and we know that even now that he's still a national team player, recently playing his first senior game competitive in the World Cup qualifiers against Kenya in Nairobi, and also keeping a clean sheet. Wish you the very best, and please raise the flag of KCCFC higher and also the banner of Uganda highest. Now, just to confirm the total number of players that have left KCCFC as we wind up this show, we will start with Moses Kalanzi, ended his contract with KCCFC. That was, he had signed a 1 year at the end of last season. Kezron Chizito signed 2 years in 2019. When he was joining KCCFC, served for 2 years. And I'll tell you that he ran down his contract. Philbert Obenchan, another player, former player of the Soccer Academy, also ran down his contract. That was in May this year. And then another player that has run down his contract is Bright Anukani, signed from Proline Football Club for a 1 year loan. And he has also been able to run down his contract. Players that have ended their contract with KCCFC or the relationship by mutual consent or mutual termination. Mr. Juma Balinya, I've already confirmed that one. Moses Aliro, Kato Samuel Nemeimana, and Kafumbe Joseph. Those are the players that have ended their relationship with KCCFC by mutual understanding. And then the players that have been sold in this particular transfer window, Steven Serrada joins the New York Red Bulls. That is also a former player of the Soccer Academy. And then Mr. Charles Lukwago, who joins St. George in Ethiopia, a player that has served the football club for about 5-6 years, and has also captained it to a Uganda Premier League title, a Uganda Cup, and also played in the Champions League group stages, plus winning a Sekafa Clubs Cup title after 41 years. Top-class staff captain, and wish you all the very best in your future endeavors. And the final player who has been sold by the football club is Mr. Hassan Matovu, who was sold to Bright Stars. So, guys, the transfer window that is for Uganda ends this week. That is the summer transfer window, this particular one, ahead of the season 2021-2022. Ends on Tuesday, and hopefully next week we'll be back here to confirm the players that have come into the football club, those that have left, those that have been loaned out, and also probably what next. Pretty much that sums up this week's show. It's been a plethora of stuff. We told you who has come in, who has gone. We told you how the football club captain, Mr. Charles Lukwago, has joined St. George Football Club that is in Ethiopia, and wish him the very best. We also told you that we had an unveiling on the show tonight, the 11th player for KCCFC in this particular transfer window, Mr. Davis Kasiri, plus also his first club interview together with Innocent Esimu Wafula. Very many stuff we talked about on the show tonight. Guys, it's been a plethora. My name is Magero Moses Mwanje. Let's meet next Sunday, same time, same show. Have a good night.